I am the worst, the absolute worst at picking fights. I've picked against Terence Crawford and Canelo both the last 5 times, and Canelo got old, and he got old very quickly in that ring.
Zapata brand media in the building. NJ Roots, heavy bass feeling. Let's go. Started from nothing. Jersey streets, we
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Zapata brand with Georgie Bagels. I am George Zapata, but they call me Georgie Bagels. Obviously, I have a bagel business, but it involves boxing. It revolves around the sport of boxing. So today I'm going to cover and give you my thoughts on last night's big event, supposed to be big event. Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez for the undisputed 168-pound championship. And I have a lot of thoughts on this. The event was supposed to be the biggest of all time. It probably will be because it was on Netflix and it streams. I mean, what is it, $20 or something for Netflix for a month or something? So yes, you have the access to get, millions upon millions of viewers. The event itself, the card wasn't bad as far as the undercard. There was the first bout was terrible. I was asleep, one round into on that show. The Mbili fight was very good. If you have a chance to watch it, replay that back. That was a very good fight. Kellen Walsh, Fernando Vargas Jr., kind of what I figured was going to happen. I don't think Fernando Vargas, I give him credit for hanging in there. He doesn't have much amateur background, but he hung in there with someone who is a highly touted prospect in Kellen Walsh, and they're pushing him to the moon. He's going to be a guy that you're going to see a lot of on these shows with Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh. The main event itself, I'll get into, but let me go back a little bit. This whole event itself, it is so overproduced, has so many people involved in it, has so many different opinions, so many graphics, so many mini concerts, so many. I'm good with a couple of the vignettes and stuff like that to give you a backstory of the fighters. I would have liked a little more of a raw backstory behind the fighters, maybe even some in the co-main and the Mbili fight. But my God, can we please stop with this? People want to see the fight. I get where you're going with it's an event. I get all that. But every 5 minutes, there was either a commercial for a sponsor. Mario Lopez is doing DoorDash stuff at the main desk. It is just overdone, and it's a turnoff. It is an absolute turnoff. And I think people think that are producing this. I think it's a good thing for the casuals. It's not. My wife's a casual, and she just was like, "This is stupid. I'm going upstairs to bed," because you can't get to the main event. Everyone has an opinion, and it just more sometimes isn't better. Less is better. And I know that in business. Sometimes less is better. You kind of want to give them enough what they need, give them the backstory of what it is, and then move on. Then move on to something else. It just is not what people are looking for. Maybe I'm wrong. And put it in the comments if you think I'm wrong. But this is so overproduced and such a boring event for just boxing. I just want to see the fighting. You can give me some backstories, a little bit here and there. But other than that, I mean, what are we doing here with this stuff? Making it so heavy in the Turki Al-Sheikh era, so heavy and kissing that guy's ass. I mean, Max Kellerman, I don't know what happened to him, but boy, can he not kiss his ass and Dana White's ass enough? I'll tell you what I saw that I liked. Sean Zattel in the press conference calling out Dana White. I liked it. Dana White didn't have an answer, but I liked it because I think it pushes back a little bit. And you watch, Sean ain't going to get much access. They're going to control the narrative in this whole thing. And it's just a very look, Lance Pugmire got his credentials yanked. I don't understand this. This is getting to the point of they are just looking to get the influencers and the people who are just the outliers of boxing. And I mean, I see it because they do this with UFC. They do it with UFC. But UFC is structured a little different, where it's very much structured by the way Dana wants it. This was way too Turki Al-Sheikh heavy. Dana certainly didn't look happy in the crowd. I don't know. To me, I think it's a microcosm of what's coming. This is going to be the way this is going to be the way it from now on that boxing is going to be with that company. They're making it more entertainment. You know, I spoke to someone yesterday about it, and they seem to think, yes, it is all about money, but that's what people want in this industry. I don't know. It was very, very turn-offish for me anyway. I don't know. You know, the fight started itself close to 1 o'clock. I think it was 12:30 when the fight first started. 12:35, I believe it started. That's too late on the East Coast. I was halfway in bed, and then if you don't have an exciting fight, you're gonna go to bed. It's just not. This was a very poorly run production. I believe, in my opinion, the graphics were good, but man, was it poorly run. Everything put together was just bad for me. I don't know if anybody thinks the same way that I do, but I don't see this being lasting long at all. Unless this guy wants to lose money fight after fight after fight, so be it. But Dana's no dummy. He knows you can't continuously lose money in a business. If it was his money, he'd be out. But it's not. It's Saudi Arabia money. He can do what he wants. Let's go to the fight itself. The fight itself, again, I've picked against Terence Crawford and Canelo both the last 5 times. And both of them have proved me wrong time after time after time. So going into this fight, I kind of said, well, I'm going to pick one of them, bet against one of them that has proved me wrong time after time after time. I picked Canelo. And the reason why I picked Canelo wasn't so much that I thought he was just bigger and stronger, which evidently not so much the case for this fight. I thought he had one more in him, just one more, hard pushing fight that we, like the Evander Holyfield fight with Tyson, one more in him that he could come back and turn the clock back. What we saw last night was a one-sided ass whooping, in my opinion, and Canelo got old, and he got old very quickly in that ring. He was throwing one punch at a time most of the time, even in the exchanges that were inside where I thought Canelo would have the advantage. Crawford really, really showed his strength. I think Canelo got frustrated, headbutted him one time, had a little cut over Crawford's eye, but that was out of frustration. This was a fight that I thought showed how much Canelo had diminished. I think the last couple fights that he had fought against the opposition he fought was just a tipping point. But when you have a guy like Terence Crawford, he's going to expose you big time. And he exposed him last night as someone who is now definitely on the backside of his career and someone who should definitely stay away from David Benavidez. That proved to me last night that, in my opinion, Canelo was ducking Benavidez. The reason being, he knew he was old. I think he knew he was old. I think he thought Crawford, being as the age he was older than Canelo, that he would himself get old overnight. All the inactivity. But didn't happen. Terence Crawford proved last night that he is one of the greatest fighters of all time, let alone this era. He's definitely the fighter of this era. He is the Mayweather of this era. He is the Ali of this era. That in that category is who defines that era. He is that guy, the De La Hoya of that era. By no means does this say that Canelo's not a great fighter, but he is not the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. And because of the way Canelo fights and who he fights, that is why there's so much opposition and blowback from the Mexican people that say he is not the greatest. And I always thought he was one of the greatest of all Mexican fighters, if not the greatest. He'll never get that because he doesn't have that. I'll fight anybody, anytime. Now, he did before, but now, when Benavidez is knocking at his door, when other people are knocking at his door, he doesn't take it. I'm curious to see who he fights next, because that's going to say a lot as to what he's going to do if this is not his last fight. Which brings me to Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford didn't give a definite answer if he was retiring last night. He kind of said, well, we'll see what happens. But he could retire today. And he is by far one of the greatest fighters of all time. He has done something no one has done, winning 3 undisputed championships in the 4-belt era. It is incredible. And then jumping up 2 other weight classes. I will never bet against him again. He could fight Anthony Joshua, and I'd probably lean towards Terence Crawford. I say that as a joke. But how do you pick against him of what he's done and what he's proved in boxing? You can't. This is a guy who's gone above and beyond what the expectations were of him in his boxing career. He'll go down in the history books as, in my opinion, maybe top 5 of all time in any weight class. The fight itself was kind of a snoozer. It really was, but, styles makes fights. Canelo couldn't get off. Crawford kind of outboxed him. And kind of what I should have expected. But I didn't. So, again, horrible picking by me. Never go by my picks. Never. I put in the AI system, and I still got it wrong. I am the worst. The absolute worst at picking fights. Every one of my friends that are close to me picked Crawford, and I didn't. So that should say something about how I pick. Anyway, guys, I got up today a story about Ricky Hatton's untimely passing. He was the first person that has been on my show that has passed away. So it hits a little home for me, but I have that up on my channel. But other than that, guys, not the great. I'll say this: the fight had to happen, and it was a historic moment in boxing last night. But the production was terrible. The pacing was terrible. Less is better. Sometimes less is better. And I know that in business. All right, guys, like and subscribe to the channel. Put in the comments what you thought of the show last night and how the pacing was and overall production, and who either Canelo should fight next or Crawford. I will be back next week with more boxing and business content. Until then, I'm Georgie Bagels. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, guys.
Yeah, it's a part of brand media in the building. NJ Roots, heavy bass feeling. Let's go.